Good evening to you and a warm welcome if you're just joining. It is the focus this evening, the disaster unfolding in the Eastern Cape province. Police saying 49 people have died in the flooding that hit that province. We have three reporters in the Eastern Cape, Liyema Vumisa, Sipha Kema and Zola Sholwana. In KZN, Sletiwe Ndlovu is going to bring us updates on mop-up operations there. All right, let's start with the Mthatha region, and that's where Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane has announced that the death toll in the province has now risen to 49. Our reporter Liyema Vumisa attended that briefing and he joins us now live. Liyema, good evening to you, and let's start with the numbers. I heard your question, really trying to clarify how many people in total have lost their lives. What did the Premier have to say?
A very good evening to you, Chloe, and of course to Newzroom Afrika viewers. Well, as you rightfully mentioned, I did in fact pose a question to get clarity on the numbers of people, or rather fatalities that have been confirmed. And he did in fact confirm 49 people at the time of him delivering that statement right here at the OR Tambo offices, district municipality that is. So just when he entered then, the number was 39 that he had. But upon sitting down and starting to read, a note then from the office of the Premier came to him, in fact confirming 49 fatalities right here in the Eastern Cape. So it's not only just OR Tambo or here in Mthatha, in the Eastern Cape, rather I beg your pardon, in the OR Tambo district municipality. That's the number of fatalities, 49 people. Of course, mentioning there, Koli, as well, the Premier, that these numbers are moving, because the search and rescue teams are discovering new bodies minute by minute in different riverbanks. Now, you would understand, Koli, that this comes then just on the backdrop of that heavy rainfall, which the Cocta MSC in the province, rather MSC Williams, did in fact mention that according to forecasts, it was in fact 100% rainfall that befell the residents of Mthatha yesterday evening and the day before. Now, what we also understand, Koli, in terms of the numbers, is that meter of water that in fact at the end of the day then submerged those houses was estimated to be about 3 meters high of water, and the distance between the nearest river and the Mthatha Dam and the houses was just around about 500 meters. So then you can understand that they were really close to that Mthatha Dam. Of course, the MECs also reiterating the fact of bylaws as a result of illegal occupation from the side of residents who then decided to build their houses just on the banks of those rivers.
Liyema, did the officials answer any questions around the planning, particularly of the region for this disaster? Were there early warning systems for people to move from areas that are feared that they could suffer the most? Just the overall planning of the province, did they say that indeed they were prepared for this?
Well, Councillor Nyaniso Nelani, that is the mayor of King Sabata Dalindyebo, did in fact allude to that exact point, Oli, mentioning that they have been having numerous and several attempts at trying to engage the residents of Mthatha, particularly those on those riverbanks, trying to inform them to relocate as a result of, the safety issue of them wanting to station that side. But then the MEC now in the province has then intervened. And of course, they did in fact reiterate the call to the residents to not build their houses there. And of course, he did in fact also mention that they will enforce bylaws to try and, sort of introduce stringent measures to ensure that people do not reside in those areas. Some of the communication then, Koli, that we got from the delegation that was led by the Premier of the province here, Oscar Mabuyane, also reiterating the fact that schools as well were affected. About 58 schools in the entire province were affected. About over 6,000 learners are affected because of the infrastructure of schools that has not then been properly maintained. Those are the figures as they come. Of course, we're hearing there from the Embassy of Education, that is Mr. Fundelekate, also mentioning that as far as exams are concerned, the province then, particularly the Department of Education here in the province, will then try to facilitate a process because most of those papers then come from the department itself. So they would then have to work around certain strategies to accommodate the learners then who are still in their exams season. But just on that note then, Oli, I want to cross to my colleague. As you can hear, that chopper is from the search and rescue teams that has been circulating here. I can imagine then Sipha Kema, who's also here in Mthatha, attending to those affected families. You are witnessing from the horse's mouth, Sipha, where you're at.
Indeed, Liyema. Now, talking about those that are affected, we know that a number of homes have been completely swept away. Others have been demolished as a result of those heavy floods, heavy rains, which caused then flooding of the Mthatha River. Now, right by the riverbank, there's a house behind me. Now, this is where we saw a number of those vehicles that are scattered everywhere, even on the riverbanks. Now, I do have Mrs. Fezeka Betse. Now, Mrs. Fezeka Betse tells us she just recently finished paying off, or rather buying, this house behind us last month. Ithini into ngoku xa kunje ngoba uyithenge only last month le ndlu ugqibe ubhatala last month anikangeni nongena, indaba ye-insurance ithini ngoku?
Thethi ngesingekazijonga into ezinjenge-insurance because besisayizama uyifixa apha ngaphakathi. We were short of ukuyipeyinta ke ngoku so that sizokwazi ubona uba sithini ke ngoku way forward. So even ne-papers asikazigqiba ukuzisayina ne-previous owner le because besiqonda uba since besiyigqiba uyibhatala last month besiseza ku-arrange naye ke ngoku sisayine ii-papers. But ke ngoku andiyazi xa kuvele kwenzeka le nto yenzekileyo. Kona andiyazi because even my husband has not seen this. Akayiboni kwayibona andimazi naye ubuzawuba njani because we paid it like the whole amount. Paid the whole amount. We sent the last installment last month.
And mama, omnye umuntu uzobuza ukuthi qala ithini ke ngoku, uthini lo muntu benithenga kuyo, the previous owner? Is there any discussions that you've had with them now regarding a refund okanye akunikeze a bit of imali back?
Askam contact kwayena mna ndizile izolo apha because I was called by people. Kusithiwa amanzi ayenyuka endlini. So I was here yesterday, so ndabona uba kwenzeka ntoni, ndamka xa ndibona amanzi uba alapha afike lapha ezifestileni ndayishiya ndaya endlini. So I couldn't do anything yesterday because I was in a shock. So andikhange ndikwazi ke ngokuba ndibe samcontacta ndive uba yena uyayibona na because ndibone abantu bebephaa bethatha ii-videos kusithiwa iyatrenda yonke loo nto leyo. But I don't know mhlawumbi naye uyibonile, so bendingekathethi mna naye.
Ngoku mama, omnye umuntu ebenombuzo athi nje kubuzwa abantu abakha apha ngakwindawo ezisondeleyo nomlambo, into yoba uzothenga umzi ongasemlambeni apho kuye kuflade khona, ubuye wayicinga uba into enjeni ingenzeka?
Khange ndiyicinge mna tu because ndibone inoba ke mhlawumbi ndiqhathele ibijikelezwe nange-stop nonsense, and I thought mhlawumbi angavalela amanzi angenyuki. But I just saw mna iyadi enkulu and yabe inendlu eseyibhildiwe, so khange ndiyicinga into yobana kungaze kube khona into enjena kulaa manzi.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Betse. That's Mrs. Fezeka Betse there, Xoli, talking about such an unfortunate incident that just happened right after finishing off the last installment of our house, buying this house behind me. This is what's happened, saying that she's unsure because she hasn't spoken to the previous owner on the way forward, whether or not they will be getting even just a portion of their refund. They have not had a chance to even insure the house because they were fixing it, and the only thing left was just to paint it. But now this is the situation that she's faced with. But she also mentioned, we asked her about, buying a property that's so close to the floodline. It's literally by the riverbank. She says that she saw that the house had already had walls around it, and their thinking was the walls would protect them from any waters that were to come. But unfortunately, Xoli, those walls themselves have come tumbling down. Now, my colleague Zola Sholwana is out in Butterworth, where the Amatole District Municipality, together with the Muma local municipality, are currently assisting those that have been displaced as a result of these heavy rains and floods. Zola, what is happening on your end?
Well, Sipha, we are at the shelter in Butterworth, where people that are currently homeless, victims of these floods, are currently being sheltered by the Muma municipality. You would understand that earlier on we have seen, the mayor of the district paying a visit to these residents, trying to find out how they can be of assistance. So many of these people that you are seeing behind me are people that live in many parts of Butterworth, particularly in informal settlements that are built near the Tuwa River. So we do understand that currently there are interventions that are being made by humanitarian organizations and also authorities trying to assist these people while they are in a dire state of need, trying to see what can be done, because many of them at this point they are left without belongings. The ones that we managed to speak to are remembering the moment where they realized that their houses were in water. Let's actually speak to one of the ladies that also lost everything. Sisi, enkosi ngexesha lakho. Ukule ndawo nje ulahlekelwe yintoni?
Sisi wami, igama lami ndingusisi Kokwendini. Into endilahlekelwe yinto yonke, like impahla, ibhedi, into zonxiba, ukutya kwabantwana, ukutya kwethu thina abantu badala, ifriji, yonke into nje kunzima nje pendlini. Ndinjena njani nampahla yonxiba ndilapha nje.
Xa uhleli kule ndawo ucinga ntoni mhlambi, because ndiya understand into yobana normally ubusihlalele endaweni yakho, ngoku awusenanto, ulahlekelwe zizinto, awazi noba uzawuthatha udibanise ntoni.
Sisi wami, andiyazi uba uphuma kwam apha ndizawubheka phi. Naxa ndifika apha endlini andihamba mandiqale phi ndithini, kunzima nje sisi.
Ukhe waya mhlambe endlini yakho wayojonga uba kukho ntoni okanye imeko injani ngoku?
Ewe, ndikhe ndaya endlini ndafika kukho idaka, yabona ndinjena nje besiklina apha endlini sizama ukwenza ngathi singaklina, akwenzeki into.
Emveni koba kudlule ezimvula ucinga fanuba uzawubuyela kulaa mzi wakho ubuhlala kuwo okanye uzawufuna enye indawo yohlala?
Ewe sisi wam, ndizawubuyela pha because ndingumphangeli, ndiyajobha apha etawuni. Andinayo enye indawo endinoya kuyo. Ewe sisi wam.
So awuyiki into yobana xa kunophinda kunetha imvula uzawuphinda futhi udade emanzini?
Ndiyoyika sisi wam, ndiyoyika.
Kukhona mhlambi into enikhe nayithenjiswa ngumasipala okanye urhulumente, mhlambi bathi bazawunihlalisa phi, okanye ikhona mhlambi into ebeke bayithetha?
Akakathethi into umasipala norhulumente, abakathethi nathi thina abahlali basesikithi. Abakaveli novela.
Enkosi kakhulu sisi ngexesha lakho, ndiyabulela. That is one of the victims. She is from Skiti informal settlement, where we were a little bit earlier on. That's where we were able to see how the situation is and how people have been affected by these floods. Some other people are refusing to leave their homes, as they are saying that they fear that they will lose the little belongings that they have left behind. But I can tell you, Xoli, that most of these people are in a hopeless situation. Some of them don't even know where to go and what's going to happen moving forward. But they are grateful for the shelter, the temporary shelter that they have at this particular moment. But we heard from the mayor that they will have to have conversations with these people and find out. Those that have relatives will have to find alternative means to be accommodated, and of course those that are homeless at this moment want will be accommodated here at the town hall. And we understand that there's also another hall where people are temporarily being sheltered. So many of these people that you are seeing here are mostly people that are victims, people that actually live in informal settlements here in Butterworth, Xoli. We also understand that the Premier was scheduled to meet these people and also address them earlier on today. Perhaps when he's done with people in Mthatha, he will then make his way here in Butterworth and also get to address these people who are eagerly waiting to hear what he has to say. Back to you in studio.
Zola Sholwana, thank you very much indeed. She is live for us in Butterworth.